Hey you guys, here we are with another painting project. It's going to be a Vampirella painting. It's a funny situation I'm in because I just discovered that I need to get a tooth crown, $1,200. So it's Vampirella time. I'm going to put this up for sale on eBay, and key is to get this thing finished as quickly as possible, as well as possible. So it's going to be very direct painting. Decided on a color scheme for it, color strategy, which you should do for every painting, and that is red versus green. And but I'm going to use basically a lot of green, muted greens throughout it, and have the red play against that. And whether it's going to be about light, value, or color, well, probably value. So anyway, I got this drawing put down in kind of a marker that I use, just fast, speed things up. And I'm going to get ready to slop down sort of a stain, a mother color, if you will, that covers a lot of stuff and kind of knocks back the white of the canvas. I could have started with a toned canvas, a gray canvas. I actually thought about doing that, but that's another step. We're going to cut that out just to speed things up. Okay, here's where we are. Things are still a little rough. You can see this mother color, as some people might call it, basically all over the canvas. And because of the nature of these oil paints, the Hoffman Duo, Aqua Duo, they dry very quickly. I used a green. Initially I started with green and burnt sienna, and it wasn't coming out dark enough, so I busted out the burnt umber, mixed that with it instead, and then I started using the umber on shadows on the figure to make them warm. So probably in this painting we're going to have cool highlights and warm shadows. Now here's something new I'm going to try. Well, maybe not necessarily new, but I'm taking this main mixture and I'm going to darken it and lighten it. The white's going to be added to it. I'm going to use that to flatten out the value of the sky, remove some of the brush strokes. Because right now this is actually the same color as that. It looks lighter because there's more canvas coming through underneath. So the goal is to cover it more. Therefore, I have to lighten the color. Otherwise, it's going to get as dark as this stuff. And then the black I'm going to add to that. And I'm going to boldly go in there and really put in some dark areas. And I think on this one, sometimes I don't go quite far enough with the darks. And this time I'm really going to try to push that a lot. Hopefully it will increase the mood. Well, the idea seems to be working out pretty good. There's a lot of paint on the sky. It's quite thick. Wondering how much I want to blend it. And there's still a lot of water in it. The water hasn't evaporated yet, so I'll probably wait a little while to work with that some more. So yeah, and true to form, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go around and drop the same color in a few other places just to kind of unify things. If you mix a color and you have it only in one area of the painting, it doesn't really work very well. You want all the colors to sort of be everywhere. Well, you can see where we're going with this, how it's coming along, somewhat monochromatic. That's okay, that was kind of the intention. Worked on all kinds of bits and pieces. Discovered some new techniques today to use with these paints. And it has to do with lifting off. Using water or spit, as you see what I'm doing, to lift off. The paint is stuck on there. It won't come off very easily unless you hit it with some water. And if you using turpentine, that would work too, of course. So now we're going to introduce some other colors and things. Well, I think I'm getting to the point where that's about all I can do with it today. Unfortunately, I won't be able to keep my mixtures tomorrow and use them again. They're going to dry out, but you know, that's kind of okay. I've done everything I can with them. Hey, here's another painting axiom. It's like using the painting knife, and it's like, could you use it more? And it's like, look here. It's like, what the hell are you doing, Hoffman? You're ruining it, smearing this stuff on there. Well, basically what it does is it breaks up the monotony of brush strokes. Yeah. Adds another texture. And for something like rocks, well, you can see what it's doing. It's kind of jazzing things up a little bit, adding a little variety. So anyway, back tomorrow. Back again, one day has passed. Painting's been sitting outside in the heat, in the sun, drying for, 4 hours, something like that. Now it's pretty dry, brought it in. Everything seemed pretty dry. Oh yeah. And then I got to the spot where I'd used a palette knife and like smeared it. But no big deal. Managed to get that off. And so anyway, gonna make some new mixtures, throw them down, smooth things out. Also, going along sort of with the axiom or rule of having a little bit of color everywhere else, the fact that I've got this red here alters things, because if I'm going to work that into other parts of the painting, how am I supposed to do that? It's pretty hot. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll create a mixture that is perhaps heavy on the red, but I have no blue in here so far except for the blue that's in the green already. So perhaps I'll mix a purple and see where I can sneak that in, you know, possibly on flesh shadows and things like that. Here we are again, quite a bit later. A lot's been added, a lot's been done. Mixed up the purple, added it in. About an hour, at least an hour of pretty intense painting. There again, always seeing things that can be corrected, seeing things that could be improved, temperatures altered, objects receding, advancing. So at this point, it's a little bit of a chore, and you kind of go, well, how much more is there? How far can I take it until there's basically nothing left? This might be a little insight. I've been working on this thing upside down for about 20 minutes, maybe something like that. And that's pretty common from around here. You just see things that you wouldn't see otherwise because your eyes are getting so accustomed to it. This is pure right over here. All kinds of things to take into account. You know, some people say, oh, don't use pure black. And it's like, okay. But I do use pure black. I'm using pure black here on the hair. You know, another thing, I was talking about, I think on this video, about mixing more than 3 colors. Well, I used a mixture which was combination of, well, I basically had a mixture of 2 colors and another mixture of 2 colors, and I mixed those together. There might have been a 5th color in there, and there was certainly white in there. So what I got was basically a gray. And you know, you don't always often think of, oh, you know, use gray as a color, but you know, it's something to think about. You could use gray effectively. Anyway, the background being grayish like that seems to help it recede. And that was the goal all along, so that's good. And actually that area, there are at least 3 coats of paint on there. So we're glazing at different points, rubbing off, going back over again. The sky, there are 2 layers. It seems to be getting there. Not sure how much more I can do, but then again, I can look at it fresh tomorrow morning before I put it up for sale, and kind of probably if there's anything I can do tomorrow, it'll suggest itself to me. It usually does. I would say that's the thing with having a trained eye, and being an artist is not really so much about pushing the brush around, things like that. It's essentially about having training your eye to see mistakes, your own mistakes, to make aesthetic judgments. So that's about it. I'll flip it around. There we go. What else? What else? Quick, Hoffman. What else? Yeah, it's starting to look pretty finished, I think. I hope. So we'll cut the blabber, possibly come back later. If not, then I guess this would be the end. So I actually did do one more session and really polished up everything that I could see that needed fixing. So here you are, more pure color, fixing symmetry on different things, the castle, altering flesh tones a bit. And so it's done.